My first thought was, wow, they're doing a remake of this? And then I heard Ken was involved, and he's one of my favorite directors of all time. And I read it, and I got about 20 pages in, and I called up my agent, and I said, I don't care if I have to play an usher who's taking tickets. I need to be a part of this film. This is extraordinary. The very nature of a film like this being made nowadays by a studio was also so exciting to me because you don't get to see, movies like this anymore. My first day walking onto set, I thought I was coming in for a costume fitting. And instead, I walked into this abandoned soundstage, and Ken is sitting there along with some of his comrades. And he's in the whole Poirot hair and makeup. And we proceed to sit down in a train caboose, and he starts asking me, no, I shouldn't say asking me, grilling me in character with questions pertaining to my character. And it was an unbelievably scary and wonderfully liberating exercise because it just broke the ice, and right off the bat, we were jumping in it. He was pulling out all of these questions and subsequently answers that were really useful for the process. Hector McQueen, like a lot of the passengers on the Orient Express, is a complicated guy. He's got what we think we understand to be his story, which seems fairly obvious, and then what's going on behind that. And for me, on the page, McQueen is sort of a slave to the character played by Johnny Depp, Ratchet. He's a sort of trembling, insecure secretary to this rather abusive boss who expects a lot of him, demands even more. And the calibration was figuring out is how comfortable is McQueen being this poodle. The beauty of this film is that you think you know what you know, but you don't know anything. And McQueen is just one piece of the puzzle. What's so great about Ken is he comes from it with the perspective of being one of us. He's an actor, first and foremost, that's how he started. And so he understands what goes on up here, the questions that we ask, the insecurities that we may have, and he is able to speak to those questions with the authority of somebody who's been in our shoes. And that's a really amazing aspect, and obviously it's one that you get rarely, but it's been wonderful because he's, more than ever, being number one on the call sheet in this film, he's a part of it, and he knows very well what we're all playing at and for, and he's able to maneuver that in a really wonderful way. Judi Dench and Derek Jacobi were two people who I literally studied in conservatory. When we were exploring Shakespeare, the first reference point that we were shown were performances by those two, and Kenneth Branagh. His Hamlet, his Henry V. Those were iconic examples of the best, and so then sitting and playing alongside those people that I've looked up to since I was a kid, basically, it is one of those pinch yourself moments. When you first meet Johnny Depp, you really do see that movie star quality where he just oozes this charisma and charm and confidence. And he is, more than anything, the loveliest, sweetest, and most fun co-star you could imagine. And then he can turn on this, character like Ratchet, who's the complete opposite in every way. And it's it's really incredible to watch. You know, it's almost become an expectation now. But every time Johnny Depp creates a new character, you're so excited to see what that's gonna look like, how that's gonna, you know, each one has so many layers to it, and each one physically, vocally, all of it, he's able to identify so specifically. I got here the first day and I'm looking up in a giant mountain with train tracks and an operational train are on it. And I was just like, this is, I mean, it almost had like a David Lean quality to it. So much of what we do now isn't practical. It's all, you know, done through digital magic. And in the case of Murder on the Orient Express, I think, you know, by virtue of the way Ken is shooting it and just the whole feel of it, he wanted almost a tangible quality to it. And so everything is practical. Everything feels real. On Orient Express, I don't think there was a day where anyone didn't walk onto set and just say, wow, this is unbelievable. This is incredible. You know, there was one day where the sequence calls for the train to be stopped, and it's like a 5-minute tracking shot inside of the train and then walking out of the train, which ends with the train leaving the platform and going into the sunset. And when the train actually started moving, I had no idea that that was gonna happen. I think a lot of people on the train didn't. I really just fell out of my chair and said, what, who did this? How did they do this? They literally built a train track and are moving a train on it now. And you feel like a kid. You feel like you're at Disney World. I think that a story like this is important to tell, especially now, because we've forgotten these stories, you know, as a film industry. We don't tell them anymore. And this has a throwback, epic CinemaScope quality to it that feels old but new again. And the breadth of it, the beauty, the splendor, and also the absolute wonder of going back to this era and experiencing this suspense. All of it feels somehow unique.
Thanks for checking out Get to the Movies. If you like what you saw, please hit the thumbs up and subscribe button for more great content uploaded every week.